And we thank you. Yeah, so I'm delighted to say I've got Ray Savage with me today, and a very good friend of his, Emmaray, who I've not even until about a minute ago I met Emmaray in person. Well, here.
That's kind
So Emmaray Kumara, how beautiful is that? So we'll be talking about that, no doubt. Ray's going to introduce Emmaray, and then it'll just be me and Emmaray on here. Thank you, Ray.
Brilliant. Well, I really have such a great pleasure in introducing someone who's become a very close friend. I was just saying to Emmaray, or no, it was to you, wasn't it, Jackie, how we met a little while ago. But I think we've known each other about 4 years, and we've been on something called the Bless All Life Council, which I know Emmaray will talk about. But that came out of meeting a lovely lady called Bev in the car park in Glastonbury, as you do, realizing that this was a cosmic friend, a cosmic being that we'd obviously interacted with through the eons, and we kept up a friendship. And she said to me, well, with what's coming up, we need to form a council that can be very impactful on many, many different levels. And I know Emmaray will talk to you about that can help us move to this wonderful place that we all know we're going to, this place of ascension where we're joining our cosmic friends, our cosmic beings. And there's no one more cosmic in her reach and her awareness and knowledge than Emmaray that I've ever actually met. And I've just had the fortune to pick Emmaray up from the absolute wilds of Western Ireland in a blizzard, only about 48 hours ago, journeyed across Ireland after being at the retreat centre that I helped build and help run in the west of Ireland. And yeah, found Emmaray sat on the side of a mountain talking to the divas, to the nature spirits, and to every one of her cosmic friends. And we journeyed out, came across the Irish Sea just yesterday. And here we are back in UK before Emmaray goes back to the States. So fortuitous that we had that chat this morning, Jackie. And
I was going to say, yes.
You get the time to have a chat and listen to the wisdom of, which is boundless. So I am so grateful to both of you, to call both of you my dear friends, and to be able to introduce Emmaray. So I'm going to clear off now, but I will be listening. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ray. Hi. So is Ray? Can I take him off of there?
Yeah, because you can't see him anymore. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So what do I do there?
But I'm listening.
But he's listening. So
right.
Well, if I have it on speaker view, then so yeah, whoever's speaking will be showing. Hi. Oh. There you are. Hi, Emmaray.
Hi.
So yeah, very fortunately, Ray phoned me this morning. How funny, Emmaray and Ray. But Ray phoned me this morning and was talking about you. And one of the things that he said, literally, we haven't spoken, so I don't know. I hope you're happy about this. But he said something about you being a walk-in. And that's been such a conversation for us lately, especially with a friend of mine that feels that her higher self walked in about 8 years ago. So, and for people that might not have heard of that, anyway, there's so many facets to you. I will just show, before you start speaking, Emmaray, I'm just going to show you, because I went to find you on Facebook and I found this. And if anyone knows me, they know how much I love colour. And then I saw this glorious thing. Energy, healing and well-being, creating wellness with your body elementals. So yeah, I just really wanted to show that because it's just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the Lauren Gailey who runs the New Earth One group, and they create these beautiful graphics. But that was the latest of the programs that I've created and am teaching through. Yeah.
Beautiful. So, beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, could you tell us a bit about yourself, Emmaray? And I think there's so much, but
Oh, you're welcome. Well, when Ray came in this morning and said, Jackie wants to interview, I was like, well, you're busy. My goodness, it was at the crack of dawn. And all this was going on already. But so yes, I live in the States and I have been here for 21 years. I walked in, and I'll keep this brief because it's a very long story, but I walked in 2003 with now, you know what, Jackie, my email is open. Let me go over there, close it. It's going to be making noise the whole time otherwise. So yeah, if we can just, sorry that I didn't do that.
I know, because mine does that sometimes. I just checked then that mine was shut, and it is.
Yeah, the notifications come up.
Yeah.
So I walked in to replace a beautiful soul who had been here for lifetimes, who walked out and went into Shambhala. And she had gone through a year-long training of how to consciously, intentionally step out of the body and go across the Anacorona Bridge and back into Shambhala. So she did that. Her soul name is Shanti. And I, at the same time, walked in. There was a council of 12 people from Mount Shasta in the room holding space while we traded places. So this is the first time I have been in a body, a human body on Earth. And so I'm very new at all of this goings on down here. And I came from another universe. But my specialty is I'm considered a cosmic resetter and a multidimensional bridge, because I can communicate with all of the realms through frequency and different ways of speaking. So I am here to be a bridge to help the human force, the I am race, remember the rest of the family and remember how to communicate and co-create with them. So that's largely why I'm here.
My goodness, like, how did you cope if this is your first time earthly existence, when you first walked in? And a lot of people watching this may not even understand what a walk-in is, or even have heard of such a thing.
Yeah, so let me explain that a little bit, because some people go, well, so what happened to the other soul? And as I've already said, Shanti had been given permission to go home to Shambhala, where her family was. So this was all very orchestrated. And because she was trained for about a year to go in and out and step over the bridge, it was relaying some of the codes of how before the I am race stepped into separation, beings would come in, the I am race and other beings would come into bodies that had been created by the Elohim. They would step in, they would live, do their thing, learn what they needed to do, and then they would just step out of the body. There was no death or dying, no hurting the body so we could escape. It was you walked in and you walked out. So that was just how things were done back then. So you can have a full soul exchange, which is what Shanti and I did, but there are also different layers that can come in and get anchored as part of the oversoul dropping in and more of your presence dropping in. So people will also experience that. But what I really like to lovingly say to people is essentially everyone is a walk-in, because everybody comes into a body temple that has been designed through, now in this world, a biological exchange that creates a fetus and you grow in, but the soul's not in the body initially. The soul steps into the body, because we are not the body. We are a soul spirit in the body. So when a walk in, walk out thing happens, it's really just a soul exchange at a different time period in the age of the body. And that's really the only difference. That the advantage of coming in as a child, of course, is you get trained on how to function, which, walk-ins, when we come in at an older age, get some training. But it is a little shocking. And also when you come in to a body like I did, we inherit the unfinished projects of the soul who left, and also all the ancestral clearing that has to get done, we get to do. So yeah, and how I've, and of course, generally your biological family doesn't know there's been a soul exchange. You don't get to walk around and put a poster on and say, I'm a walk-in, I'm new, help me out a little bit. It's just not accepted enough to be able to do that. So we get to kind of, now I will back up and say I was in Mount Shasta. And so Mount Shasta, California is very awake. And of course, people know about walk-ins. And so it was no big deal there, but I wasn't allowed to tell my biological family that I was not their sister until 2 years ago, 19 years after I've been here. I was finally allowed to share that. And so it's been interesting, doing the yes, I'm your sister, and then the rest of the world. But when I went on my first talk show and announced that I was a walk-in, the cosmic host said, now you can tell your family, because if they listen to this, they're going to wonder what in the world's going on. So.
Oh, and how did they take it, Emmaray? Did they sort of know anyway?
No, actually, one of my sisters said, oh, I've heard of a walk-in. I've heard of that. And I sent her some information. And then my other sister completely dismissed it like I never said it, and still acts like it's the same thing. So neither of them have talked to me about it since. But every once in a while, I will send them a note reminding them I am not their sister. And part of it is Robin, whose soul name is Shanti, who left, they had bad blood between them. So which is also part of why Shanti left. The family environment had gotten very difficult, and she really was ready to go home to her cosmic family. So she did that, but so where was I going with that? So I have a couple of times had to remind them that whatever unfinished business they had with Shanti, they needed to take it up with her and do forgiveness work, because I am not their sister. And I've had to emphasize to them a few times so that they would not project that energy at me. And,
oh my goodness, how amazing is that? That is absolutely so interesting, because that's a lot for you and a lot for them. And the one that probably had the most going on is probably not accepting of that.
Yeah.
So it gives you even a bigger job to do.
Yeah.
But you understand cosmically what the forgiveness aspect of it all is.
Absolutely. And as the waking process occurs on the planet and more of this is revealed, then they will be able to understand and accept, hopefully, what the whole process is. And, we've had some very famous people as walk-ins. Abraham Lincoln was a walk-in. Benjamin Franklin was a walk-in. And in years past, walk-ins have been quite unusual, but now there's a lot of soul exchanges going on because of souls in different areas of the infrastructure, technology, and things who were really on the wrong track, wanting to take us down the wrong track, who have been called back to source, and new souls that are on the light side are stepping in their place. And I've learned a little bit about that occurring from Lisa Barnett, who wrote the book on Akashic knowing. And she called me up one day and she said, I just found out though that there are all these walk-ins coming into Silicon Valley and such places to, again, upgrade technology into the light. She wanted to talk to me about what it was like being a walk-in, so she knew how to interface with them. So these are the kinds of things people like me, because I'm really from a long ways away, I've been involved, like a lot of souls, Jackie, excuse me, have been involved in planetary ascensions. A lot of the starseeds have done this before somewhere else. We're not new at this. And my cosmic family shared with me that this is the 6th planet that I have actively been involved in in upgrading and bringing home. But this one had fallen further than all the other ones. So it's proved for all of us, of course, to be a little more of a job than we thought.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So yes, you take it away, really, whatever you'd like to share, because it's very much, I've read so much about animal healing, elementals, different. Obviously, we've heard of animal healing, and
Yeah.
it's very, very wonderful and needed and necessary. But elementals and what part they play. So whatever you want to talk about, and we can have a conversation, Emmaray.
Well, that's fine. And I'd love to have you ask me questions. Some of the main points right now with the bridging of the realms as the earth is spinning up in the fifth dimension, and each dimensional level has 12 steps within it. So people are saying, oh, the earth is now in fifth dimension. Yes, but at the very lower level. So 5-1, 5-2, she just popped up. We had a lovely timeline pop up after the election in the US, and that popped the planet up a level. So she's in 5-2. But there are a lot of us walking on the earth, especially in the starseed family, that are up higher in the dimension. And that's how we're bridging, because we're ahead. We're in the world, but not of the world. We're ahead of the rest of the population to help draw them up. And part of that process is having the awareness of all the other realms of creation and their roles. There are people on the planet who know about the ascended hosts, the angelic hosts, of course. More information is coming out about the benevolent galactics. But the elemental realm and the realms of divine alchemy really have been, unless you're actively doing things such as the practices of the Druids and some of the indigenous people, they've gotten kind of left out of the conversation. So when we're talking about manifesting, which happens, it begins on the causal level where the blueprints are created, and then they have to get spun down through the magnetic energy of love into form. Well, who does that? Yes, we as creator beings are involved, of course, but there's a whole lot of other beings involved in this process. It all involves all the elementals: air, water, earth, fire, and ether. And there are also all these divine alchemy teams that are the weavers that come in and weave the energy through the magnetic principle into form, working directly with the I am race, the creator race. So, and humans, the I am race, are just one of the races of creator beings. There are many different creator being races, like the mighty Elohim and these different groups besides the I am race. So it's important also to understand that. Who are the weavers? Who are the creator beings? But as creator beings, everything that we say, think, feel, do manifests. And the elemental realms made an agreement with us, with the I am race, way back when oneness was still what was going on and paradise was still. And they said, whatever the creator races ask, we will fulfill through their responsive nature. So there was no caveat put in there that said, unless they go into separation and lose their sense of self and start doing harm, we don't want to be a part of that. So because there was no caveat in there, they were then forced to create miscreations and harm, and have been tangled up in this for a very, very long time, having to create whatever miscreations were coming out of our mouths and having to fulfill that. And so part of this process of acknowledging them is also to support the re-emergence of living by the universal law of do no harm. And that allows the elementals to be free, it allows life to be free, and that everything is now being manifested through cosmic love. And we do this by connecting with the elementals. And the elementals, the air elementals, are sylphs, The earth elementals are gnomes, the water elementals, the undines, the fire elementals, the salamanders, who I will aside and say do not look like lizards. Salamanders actually are more angelic humanoid looking, and their whole field is full of sacred fire. They're these exquisite beings. And then the field of ether has this other entire group that works to bring things from the causal level to the etheric level. So the entire divine plan of New Earth has been created, and it has been actively spun down to the etheric level. And that was one of the things people like me on a soul level for a long time have been actively spinning things down, stepping it down from the causal to the etheric, where now every soul on earth, through their presence and their causal body gifts, with the assistance of their body elementals, can now reach up energetically, say, what is my piece? Grab that piece and bring it into form. And that is the job of the day. What is my piece? And calling in the different realms, the overlanding divas, the angelic realms, the elementals, the galactic family, that your piece requires to bring into action. And that's where we are right now. We are definitely in the roll up our sleeves and get busy with all the realms. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So when you're saying peace, are you saying PEACE or PIECE?
So, well, yes, the PIECE, which we do through PEACE, but yeah, it's the piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a piece of the galactic, the cosmic puzzle that is the blueprint. Every soul on the planet has a piece of the plan to fulfill, or they wouldn't be here.
Oh, I love this, because that is bring it to hear talks like this. It's bringing to our conscious awareness, even like where you're talking about the salamanders and all the, you know, the other elementals.
Mm-hmm.
You need to hear about that now, don't we? To understand that, you know, and consciously be aware of them and how important it is. Another thing that went through my mind while you were speaking is about the word manifest.
Yes.
I did hear the other day that that has been the word of this year, to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Ho'oponopono practitioner, and with Ho'oponopono, you wouldn't be trying to manifest. You literally are trying to clear yourself completely. Can you talk to that, Emmaray?
Well,
Like,
it's a process, isn't it? We clear and then we up a level and then we are able to manifest more clearly. So
with the
part of that,
inspiration.
the inspiration which comes in becomes, so let's look at this part of this. So every being, everything in the causal level is held in its immaculate state of perfection. So as things are spun down, because the field was so dense and was locked in this idea of good and evil, the book of knowledge stuff, the manifestations got distorted on their way down. And of course, people were not acknowledging any of the other realms that were assisting with this. And so then while people started to wake up, those who are awake started going, oh my God, what have we done? And the self-flagellation started. And so here comes the sacred fire, the violet fire, the Ho'oponopono, and say, the first thing we have to do is forgive all of it. And as that forgiveness, which is actively going on every moment now occurs, the field becomes clear, the purity energy of the white ray can come in, and also we have greater access to the immaculate perfection of all things. And they can start showing up. So this is this process. It's definitely part of the spinning up. We clear, we raise our frequency, remember what it's like to be in joy, forgive ourselves, and repeat, you know, you know.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I'm chilling as you're saying that. So that's the truth. Yeah, so beautiful. Because that's the point with Ho'oponopono. You're
Yes.
clearing for the ancestors as well. You're clearing for everybody.
Yes.
Well, there is only you in Ho'oponopono. There is only us in our consciousness or awareness. But then you're clearing yourself. And then, yeah, as long as you're keeping your vibration high as you can. Oh, so that's where you are with that. And of course, you then manifest the best of everything that you can visualize.
Yes. And so, and this is also, I encourage people more and more to work with the energy of resurrection. And the construct of resurrection, of course, was brought in when Jesus was here and went through that horrific experience that he chose in order to demonstrate these things. And then he and the angelic realm rebuilt his body in the tomb. He came out fully resurrected. And he says in the writings that have now been uncovered that were hidden, that he wasn't doing that so he could say, oh, I'm so much better than everybody else. He was saying, this is how you do this. You don't need to destroy your body, but literally the whole earth had been crucified through the separation process, and all of life had been crucified. And so the resurrection, which is a raising activity, but it also gives you access to re-embodying your immaculate self, which Mother Mary took on the job of holding the immaculate constructs of every human being on the planet. She has the immaculate blueprints. The body elementals and the silent watchers, the silent watcher, which again everyone has, holds that in memory along with your divine purpose, and holds that close enough for you to access it in meditation and such things, so you can remember the truth of your whole beingness. Then your body elemental, because every human and every animal has a body elemental who holds the blueprint of the physical form and helps with the function of the body, all the body systems. Especially I like to joke around and say, people say there are all these involuntary activities going on in the body. They just do this all by themselves. Well, that's not true. The elementals are doing all these things for you with the consciousness of the body. And of course, all of the molecules of body, more and more, the real understanding of consciousness is coming in, that everything is consciousness, down to the absolute molecules that make up every form. It doesn't matter if it's a table, a computer, your food, your body, everything's consciousness. And these bridges of awareness that then allow us in our manifestations to be constantly conversing with form, the houses, the streets, the buildings, anything that if you're a painter, talking to the consciousness of your paints and your canvas, it's all living consciousness. All of it is. And so this is what allows us to become true creators in that space of understanding that everything can hear us. And when we speak and we become a team, it's all about becoming a multidimensional, interdimensional team. And it's really fun, you know.
Love this, absolutely love this conversation, because you got the waterfall behind you, and we're finding out more and more about the consciousness and the intelligence of water.
Yes.
And that's so fascinating, like Dr. Emoto's work, but now Vader Alston, you know, where you can put a word, love, for instance, and stand the cup of water and then freeze it, and the beautiful diamond crystal that appears.
Yes.
Or if you put anger, the very not so nice, that's the intelligence of water, but it's so much more than that, obviously, I know. Oh, I'm just going to mute my phone.
Okay.
So sorry, my sister phones every day the minute she gets home. Not that, because that's the home phone. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
that's fine. It's totally fine. Well, it's, it's, Jackie, it's very interesting about the consciousness of water. And I love Dr. Emoto's work, and I've had some amazing experiences. I have one article on my primary website where I was up in one of the lakes called Castle Lake in Mount Shasta in the spring, and I was singing because a lot of us like to sing to nature, and I was up singing a song of gratitude. And as I did, this big heart formed in the ice water, and it stayed there. And I'm a photographer, so I was able to photograph it. So that picture is out on my website with this article of what happened. And I also have many photographs of overletting divas, water undines, and these different beings that have shown up in my photographs because I asked them to reveal themselves so that I could help validate them to life in human form and say, you can see that they are real. Here they are in the pictures. So it's all part of that, realizing they are not fantastical creatures, that they are very much a part of our family. And yes, for the most part, we cannot see them, but that's just because they're humming at a different frequency. And speaking to any of the beings of nature, the trees tend to sing or speak in rhyme. And the different, animals are very telepathic. They oftentimes speak to us through visual pictures. So a lot of people, when you're learning how to listen and speak across the dimensions and the realms, you have to realize they're not going to all speak to you in English grammar or Japanese or whatever language you speak in. They're going to speak to you in these different dimensional constructs of color and frequency and sound. And these are such important things for us to remember, because as our benevolent brothers and sisters, the galactics and different beings are revealed and are coming into our awareness on a daily basis, they may or may not speak to you in your given language. They may be telepathing to you. And so we've got to remember these ancient truths, that we are all telepathic and we can all speak in these various ways. Yeah, it's really important at this point.
We had an evening about 3 weeks ago in person, and Alice Heath she does the trance and answers the question, a bit like Esther Hicks.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that type of thing. And the girl that asked the final question, she could not get the question out. And she broke into light language, and Alice answered in light language. And even though we didn't in the room understand what was being said, we knew it was something sacredly beautiful.
Yes, it is. And it's a lot of us really on a soul level tap into our language that we are speaking through these bodies is not our base language. I tell people English is my second language, so be kind, because it's not. When I'm not around people, I'm not speaking English to life. I'm speaking my true language, and that's just how we do things. So it's important to allow an expansion of how we consider communication to work. The spoken language has beautiful blessings, but it also has taken people so far away from these other interstellar ways of communicating. And it has created walls between the animals and the plants and the divas and all these different beings, because it was like, well, if you can't speak my language, then you must be stupid. There was that, but a lot of that has gone. But it used to be very blatant how that was. If you can't speak my language, then you're not worth speaking to. And as that construct all breaks down, and we remember that we are all innately telepathic and intuitive, And the clairsenses are coming back online, which allows people to touch in with these different realms, even though we may not be able to visually see them. But we are able to acknowledge the truth of them because we acknowledge that we're just frequency. And when things are at different frequencies, like dragonflies. If you ever watch dragonflies, they pop in and out of dimensions while they're flying. You'll see them and they'll disappear and then they'll pop back in over here. And so this is an example of this kind of thing happening. And now as people are going up in the fifth dimension and things, we will pop in and out of timelines. We will pop in and out of dimensional overlays. You may put your car keys down and then pop, and then they're not there because you left them in a different level. And so then you have to get yourself to that level again so you can find the keys. This is this is more and more going to be happening with people,
Yes.
honestly.
And having that understanding as well about the different dimensions and that we can do that.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing I just wanted to go back on as well, because I meant to say when you were saying about it, when you said about the silent watcher, is that the same in spirituality as the doorkeeper?
Oh, that's a good question, Jackie, that I don't actually have an answer to. The doorkeeper. Now, to me, the door is the door to the soul that got closed when the separation was chosen. So I don't know. The silent watcher to me he or she is like a historian. They just watch and observe and have no judgment and hold the information clear and succinct of what you're doing here. So when you're meditating, you're saying, what is my purpose? Why am I here? That information comes in through the silent watcher, into your causal field, in through your body elemental, your higher self, and is dropped in at whatever level you can receive it in that moment because of where your personal consciousness is. So you'll get what you can receive at that moment through that process. But it's kept pure up here all the time.
Oh, amazing. I love that. And as a walk-in, do you feel you can reach a higher vibration at any time, or do you have, like, you obviously have the emotions of a person?
Yes, I do.
Like we all have those emotions, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, it's been a big challenge for me. But so what my experience was when I first came in, I held up the level of mastery that I had, and in my world where I came from, I was an ascended being. So there are many beings here who are being referred to now as, because we like to label everything as ascended master ETs. I'm like, well, we could do better than that. But anyway, so this is this new term for soul spirits who come in from different realms who are ascended, but then drop in and do this other thing. But we retain a lot of the knowingness. So the universe that I came from was in a state of paradise. And so I have been able to hold that field and be able to explain to people what that is, and that it's real and true. And this is where we're going, and that we manifest directly from the universal, and we teleport, and we do all these things. And this is where this planet is remembering and stepping back up and returning to. And so I do have this very expanded cosmic awareness simply because I didn't go down into separation the way the planet did. I came in, and even though I spun down way further than I was intending to, I got caught up in the drama and these things. So I dropped lower than I was intending to, and I've been having to really work to get back up. But all that time, I've always remembered the truth I'm very aligned with the Emerald Ray and the Ray of Cosmic Truth, and I work with Pallas Athena and Master Hilarion and these beings who carry the field of truth. And so I've always been able to say to people, someday you'll remember that this is the truth. This is what oneness really is. Oneness isn't just about people. It's about everybody and everything in this beautiful, amazing family that we are a part of, that so many have forgotten, that now we get to remember and upspin so we can embrace them again.
Like you found Ray, obviously you've got a whole cosmic family of your own as well in Mount Shasta area, but we're finding our own communities here. And so we're making our own future. Do you believe like the golden era, they're saying 2032 is the time of the golden era that we're moving towards? But obviously we can be there before that. I mean, it's our consciousness that's holding us and putting a number on it.
Yes.
What do you say around that? You think could the world be that good by 2032?
Well, and people call those different things the seventh golden age, because there have been, since the time of Sanat Kumara and the planet of Venus taking on, Mother, Father, God said somebody needs to midwife Earth or we're going to lose her, because the darkness had become so dark here. And so Venus, the planet of Venus, goddess of Venus, and the Kumara family stepped forward and took on the job of midwifing, God parenting Earth. And Sanat Kumara came 70,000 years ago and did a call throughout the universe as who will come and help. And that was when the 144,000, that you hear that number, came and met with Sanat and agreed to be part of bringing this planet home again. So there have been all these golden ages that have almost made it and then failed, almost made it and failed. And so the seventh golden age has been declared by the Godhead to be a permanent golden age, that this planet is coming home and staying home. And there are multiple reasons for that, partly because this solar system and galaxy are all ascending into the next level, and they can't do it without Gaia coming along. She's part of that cosmic cluster. So they've been waiting for us to, and that's partly why so many of our soul families, star families, have come to help. They need us to come along with the family, come along. So the seventh golden age actually declared its beginning in 2012. However, that isn't the divine expression of the golden age, has not started expressing yet, but the energy of the anchoring of it occurring is underway. And as far as when is it, we're going to look out the door like Dorothy in Oz and go, there it is. I don't think it's really going to work that way. It's a step-by-step process, and every day we have the opportunity to contribute to bringing the golden age into the outer field by starting here and then working on what our divine purpose is. And so much of that is the acknowledgement that everything in form is part of source, everything in form became through love, and everything in form is getting raised in the ascension and brought back to its immaculate state. And what is that? What does that look like? How do we get there? By every day calling it in through the resurrection, through the ascension calls, doing these invocations, while we are saying, we are calling it in. It's only love. There's no more harm. I will do no more harm. I am choosing to live in harmony, in harmlessness. How do I do that? That's a big part of all of this. So I don't know about that year specifically, but what I do know, Jackie, is that over the next 10, 20 years, the world is going to change so dramatically, we will not recognize it. The beauty that is here at our fingertips to re-anchor with the assistance of all the realms is magnificent. If people choose to work actively with the elementals, with the divas, with these different beings, it will happen very quickly, very quickly.
That even the thought of it. So we've actually got a group together, and we've made a video of, so mine, for instance, my purpose would be for animals to be in looking after the animals as much as possible. You know, if we were in a community, for instance, I would be with the animals or the children, you know, yeah, not a school, but somewhere where you can learn about self-confidence, self-love,
Yes.
yeah, self-esteem, but definitely self-love, you know, all those type of things. But there'll be another area for a men's group, for fishing, you know, all the beautiful things that, because we've all got, you love photography, you know, so it's what you do when you're doing what you love, that's when you found your purpose.
Yes.
And that's where we want to be, rather than 9 to 5 or 9 to 10, or, you know, 9 in the morning to 10 at night. You know, we want to be doing what we want to be doing, what we love doing. And that's our purpose in life. I mean, the thought, and the more we bring that to our mind is what we're bringing in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, follow your joy, and remember the pureness of heart and the innocence. The children, when they're brand new, they all know that fairies and the gnomes and all these beings are real. I mean,
Yes.
they all know, and the animals know because they can see them. You know, they don't have this blinder on that says they're not real and they're not there. Of course they are. If you imagine it, then it is real. That's just a doctrine of the cosmos. So to follow our joy, and what does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? And knowing these cosmic laws, of which the number one is do no harm. This is one of these things that is going to raise the planet up. The animal kingdom, doesn't want to be our food source anymore. They are asking us to stop that. And it was never intended, back before the separation journey started, all the animals spoke and all of them were our friends. And there was no food chain. The animals didn't eat each other either. All of that happened as a result of the separation downspin that the I Am Rays did, took all of the other realms with it. And the food chain began at that point. Back up, nobody's killing anybody. It's against the cosmic laws to do that. And everybody feeds off of life force, the sun, and it just comes in that way. And there are many better things to be doing than having to figure out how to feed yourself. You're learning how to manifest straight from the universal these exquisite things, and learning the wisdom through form of what that looks like, popping in and out of different forms so you can see what it's like to be a tree, to be a lion, to be a butterfly, what you learn from these things. This is all the truth, and this is where we're going.
Oh my goodness. So something just went through my mind as well while you were speaking, like you're finding out because you've come down further than you expected, and so you've got that human, what we can have within families. So my family that is community, that's talking about animals and children and all of that lovely, gathering together, but then you've got your actual family who you love, of course, but that can hold you back a lot of the time, or if you're worried about what they think of you. So, you can put a post out, for instance, and your community family will be very supportive, whereas your actual family can be, and that's through their consciousness, and that's absolutely fine, but can be unsupportive, which makes you question. So I'm talking about myself, obviously, but you know, it makes you question, do you carry on doing that? But you know, I just know the consciousness of the greater good is so much more for that side.
Well, it is. And, you know, a lot of the awarenesses of our biological family, so much of what happened, especially in these last couple generations, is that we have had these agreements up here, what needs to be resolved in our ancestral lineage, who wants to play what role, and then everybody decides how it's all going to show up down here, and then you work out the karma and start healing the 7 generations in each direction to bring that. And that's the purpose of the biological family, to learn and share these things. Our extended soul family is limitless. And so we have the spirit families, which are the ones that have, for the star seeds especially, been there so that we could say in those moments when we think we've all gone crazy because of the things that we know, you're like, am I making this all up, you know? And you can say to each other, nope, we're all good. This is all really true. That's the extended family. And then when the doors open wide, and like me, like Ray was saying earlier, that I was up in Ireland all by myself for a month in a cabin, speaking with my interdimensional family and the galactics. And he also mentioned the Bless All Life group, and I do want to speak about that a little bit, the work that we're doing. But every starseed, for the most part, came into a family alone, where the rest of the family was not going to wake up. And so you had no one, you were like the black sheep of the family. Almost every starseed you talk to is like looked at by the rest of the family as they're just a little weird or something. And Shanti, who was the one who walked out when I walked in, she had been excommunicated by her family, you know, because of what she knew. And she was very aware. Her previous lifetime had been as a Lakota. She had been in Avalon as a priestess. She had all this memory, and none of the rest of the family did. And she had no place to go with that. So, and that is a very common story with starseeds. So it is important to go out into the spiritual community and to find people of open like heart that you can speak to about these things. It's very important. And it's one of the real blessings of the internet, I think, and these beautiful, and Zoom, God bless Zoom, you know, what would we do without Zoom? You know, these beautiful platforms that are allowing us to speak to one another and share all this wisdom. And it just builds the morphogenic fields of this knowledge bigger and bigger and bigger, which is what's popping the planet up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So yeah, please talk about the council that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I'd really like to speak to them a little bit. So thank you, because the Bless All Life Council, again, it was started, Ray met Bev and Glastonbury. They recognized each other. And then Bev Bryn at the time was living in Germany, and she was a counselor sort of at a military elementary school. Her family had been part of the military. She'd been over there for years. She got a tap from Kuan Yin, who said, form a council. We need you to help the children. So the council started coming together with these brilliant people, and the website it's on my website, thenaturewhisperer.com. You can find the Bless All Life link. Has a brilliant team of souls from all over the world who are advanced in planetary service. And we all have a skill set where we know how to listen to the high councils, find out what it is they need. Those of us, we were all refer to ourselves as starseeds in general, or the ground crew. You know, the Hopi said, we are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ground crew, those who are responsible to make the calls to heaven, to allow the divine intervention, because we are a free will situation and they cannot intervene unless by divine decree or clarion call requests. So the Bless All Life Council came together 4 years ago, maybe longer, when this whole unfoldment of child trafficking and all these things started percolating up, and the real lid was coming off of what the cabal and all these very dark things that were going on, that had been going on for a long time, but it had come to the point with the bringing in of the divine plan that more active groups needed to be on the planet, working consciously with the higher ups to make the calls for intervention that were needed. So we have videotaped most of this, and it's out on the Bless All Life group, but it has to do with everything from weather intervention to child trafficking to working with the wheel of co-creation and calling in the new divine structures. We teach people how to set the unity fields and how to listen to what you're being asked to do. And if a lot of people, let me say, the idea of being someone doing a clarion call, the requesting for assistance, is uncomfortable for a lot of people. But when you get to that awareness that if you are being asked, and this is something Saint Germain through the I Am Foundation, they taught a lot about these things, where if there is something that we are seeing going on in the world and we think it needs correcting, that we can, through our presence, make a request. We are requesting and calling in divine assistance intervention to correct whatever this is. That opens the door to allow the angelic host, the galactic host, the hosts of heaven, all told, to step in and make the necessary corrections. And this literally is what the Bless All Life Council does. And most recently, we were one of the groups that when Hurricane Helena had come in, and Bev Bryn lives in North Carolina and experienced that, all that happened down there. But then Hurricane Milton was starting to show up. Now, Hurricane Milton, none of these were Gaia kicking up. These were all manipulated weather anomalies.
Yes.
And so we came together as a team, and there were others around the earth, and we said, we do not consent to this. All weather manipulation will cease this instant. And that Archangel Michael came in and literally hit the center of the hurricane with this lightning bolt and shattered it as a result of our making these calls. And that hurricane went from a level 5 to a level 2 as a result. This is the power that we, as the I Am race, awakened and willing to advocate for life. This is the power that we have on the ground to request, in accordance with the divine plan and cosmic law, for these interventions to occur. And by doing these things, it speeds up the whole resurrection of the planet, because we are saying enough already. Yeah, so that's a lot of
that is absolute truth, Emmaray, because I chilled head to toe and it just lasted. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And of course, I know it went from a level 5 to a level 2 because we were so aware of that at the time, because we had, you know, different friends of ours had put out the call as well, that we would all pray together. And oh my goodness, how incredible.
And that's what it is. It's the, you know, the energies that we're becoming more aware of what happened, that, and I don't know all the terms of admiralty law and all these different things, where things were being done to the earth and to the populations because we didn't say we do not consent. It's all being done through consent because we weren't saying that we didn't consent. And
that's
so now,
through naivety, because we didn't know either. I mean, many, we're just really only just waking up to all of that now. Yeah,
it is that old saying that if you are silent, that is a yes. You are giving consent through your silence, you know.
We're almost at an hour. Can we finish this by just, do you mind just telling us again how we asked for that peace to come into us?
So I will say we're posting some of it on the Bless All Life, but I'm also putting it on the naturewhisperer.com. But so when you're, please clarify for me, you mean as far as
You asked for that piece to come in.
Oh, the piece of the plan. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
oh, absolutely. It's just my pleasure. So the simplest way is to get in your peace place. And beloved, I am that I am, my beloved overlighting counsel. I am asking for divine clarity to come to me as to what my piece of the plan is. Can you bring this to me in a way, in a form that I can see it, feel it, taste it, be fully aware of what it is, and provide me the pathway clearly, succinctly. And I call with that the team that is here to assist me in making my piece a reality. And I welcome all the realms of divine alchemy and wisdom and truth to align with me to facilitate the actualization of my peace. And I know that if I am in my joy, then I am on the right path. Bring that to me and help me to stay there. And I am grateful. Thank you. Something.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Emmaray, what a joy to meet you.
You too. And I hope we get to play together more.
We will, without a doubt. And I'm very grateful to Ray for that talk this morning. And yeah, and the inspiration that thought, I really would love to speak to you. So thank you. Oh, and he's back. Who's the man?
Hey, Ray.
I haven't missed a word, and I've really been enjoying that, and I hope your viewers will, and many others. It's certainly a piece I will send to many people. Emmaray, thank you, and Jackie, thank you for being such a bright and bouncy and lovely facilitator of many thoughts and so many beautiful gatherings.
Yes.
I just feel so honored to be in the presence of such extraordinary people, and I count the Bless All Life Council as one of the most extraordinary groups that are doing the work and very seriously doing the work, but they have a lot of fun doing it. And if you get to have a look at that website, maybe we can post that up, Emmaray.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know the people on that website, and they're a pretty awesome group. You can imagine Emmaray multiplied up a good few times. You might get a concept of what's there. And I sometimes get the opportunity of sitting there and bringing maybe a little bit of a masculine energy to that group. And I very distinctly remember that night that we called it after talking to Bev, who has become a very dear friend, who is living in North Carolina and who is doing some sterling work in supporting the women there who are having to make sense of their whole lives being swept away, and who's helped them with the relief effort, etc. But having her there right in the middle of that, and us then being able to work on the aftermath of that, and also to the prelude to what could have been a far more serious storm on that night. And it's one of the things I shall never forget, and it's part of the rich tapestry of the fabulous journey that we're on.
Yes.
Emmaray and Jackie, thank you so much for being so much part of that rich tapestry. Aren't we lucky?
We blessed.
You too, Ray. Goodness.
Absolutely. Aren't we blessed to know? To know Ray even.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, wonderful. So we will, when you're back at home, we'll talk again, Emmaray.
That would be lovely. That's, I have said to Ray, before I walked in, I thought about walking in over here in the UK, Ireland area, but I ended up in the US. So this is as much home to me as that is. And I feel that I'm going to be popping across the ocean fairly regularly. So
yes, I believe that. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you
so
again.
much.
Blessings to you.
Thank you for anyone watching this. Hope you enjoy. Well, I know you will. Yeah. Thank you. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye-bye.